and everything is wrong, and the infrastructure is dying, and on and on and on and on. Well, who's president? Well, my God, it must be the fault of the president. It's not his fault. You know it. I know it. So in answer to your question, what would I do? I'd try them, and I'd do the same thing that was done to Hermann Goering. I'd hang them by their goddamn necks.
Up their ass.
No. Let's keep this a family show.
Yeah, right there.
Mr. Redmond, on more than one occasion in your Winnebago video, you referenced the ferns in the docks. What are the ferns in the docks? I need to know.
All right. Yes, this is critical stuff.
Let's get down to the...
Yeah, come on. I mean, from the ridiculous to the sublime. What you have to be is you have to be very old. I have to preface this by saying in my mind, there are three great comedians, or were, in my time. They were Mort Saul, Steve Allen, and Groucho Marx. And
you got a half class.
I mean, come on, they don't know who the hell is he talking about. The point is that it's so impossible to. What was the question?
Birds in the dock.
Oh, yes.
I can answer this.
No, you cannot answer it. Years and years ago, Steve Allen had a magnificent show, one of the funniest shows on television. And on Thursdays in Hollywood, he would have auditions for that program. And luckily, I was able to swarm my way in and become invited. And I would sit and I would watch and what have you. And that's where the emanation of schmack, schmack came from. You may not remember that. Somebody would come up and they would do something and they would say, and one of the producers would turn to Steve and he would say, "It's a bunch of fucking ferns and docks." And that's how it originally began. Now you tell them your story.
Well, I remember I asked this question right off the bat, as you did, so I appreciate your journalistic integrity. And you told me that it was Steve Allen's way of getting around the censors because it was a word that sounded nasty, but wasn't. And he would say, "Stop fern docking my cradle."
Yeah. Get out of my cradle.
Then you took that and twisted it into the ferns and the docks, and
I did.
Picking up your fern and
yes,
a whole new life of its own.
There you are.
Yeah, in the back there.
When we see a finished film, we tend to assume that both the filmmakers and the subject knew from the very beginning what it was about. And I'd like to ask each of you as the maker, and also Jack as the subject, how your ideas may have changed in the making of the film of what it was really about.
Okay. So the question
is a hell of a lot of fun that I could have heard you.
The question is, when you see a finished film, you assume or you think that the filmmaker and the people in it knew what was going to happen from the beginning.
I have to answer this immediately.
I'm not surprised.
If it isn't obvious to you, then you are you're living on another planet. Every time. This is the God's truth. Every time Dan would say, "Well, here we go," and the cameraman would be ready to find wonderful cameraman that we had.
Barrett Nader, who's here in the crowd in the back row there, everybody.
And the lens cap would come off, and Ben would sit there and he'd look at me. He hadn't a clue of all time what he was going to get. He had no idea what I was going to, neither did I. I mean, come on, obviously you must be relevant by now. I'm a hip shooter. I have no idea what I'm going to say until someone such as you people gives me something and I think, there it is. Yeah, you got it. And so I come up with what I consider to be a great witticism, and nobody laughs. So that's my answer to the question. He didn't have a clue what he was going to get.
I knew what I hoped to get, but I'll give you a story about the filming that I think encapsulates this. That when we went to the Found Footage Festival, we were standing in the back there, as you see in the footage, and they're doing their show, and the clip's playing, and we're just about to walk Jack down front, and Keith Gordon leans over to me and he goes, "You know, we're pulling the pin on a hand grenade and rolling it down the aisle." He said that. He's not making this up. Right as he said that, they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, I think I blacked out. And I'm glad that it came out as well as it did. And in all truthfulness, I think, you know, I hope part of the fun of watching the movie is that you guys go on this ride with me. You know, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I knew that Jack was this fantastic character, and he was facing a sort of particularly modern dilemma that had never existed before, and he was doing so as somebody from an older generation of media making and confronting this new generation of media. And so I knew that there was a good conflict and a great character, and if I just saw it through, I would get some good stuff. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't horribly stressful, and when I watch this movie, it makes me cringe because my pants are drooping down to here, and I'm pale, and my hair is greasy, and I haven't slept, and I'm pleading with him, "Please, Jack, let's just talk about your personal life a little bit. Please, just open up to me."
Welcome to filmmaking.
Yeah, Jack, we love you. Has Tony gotten to catch up with you or talk to you throughout this whole thing?
You the guy with the gun?
Tony's lawyer.
I haven't. You've got to keep in mind what I've been doing for years before this is under, and Ben thinks he's under pressure. I'm working for the highest pressure company that ever existed on the face of the earth in terms of media. And all you had to do was screw up one time. That was all. You were gone. You were zilch. And I learned that lesson very, very quickly when I began working for CBS. And I concluded there was one thing that was absolutely imperative. I had to understand that if the shit hit the fan, it was going to land on me. And it wasn't going to hurt anybody else. So then I became what most people do in this industry, is they become immensely dictatorial, and they do it not out of anger, not out of their wish to hurt anybody, simply, "Listen, baby, when this thing comes down and we put it in the can, it's my ass, not yours. I want it as good as I can get it." And there you have it. There's the answer to your question.
So we can't expect a reunion with Tony and the crew.
No. Those were just people, just kids, sitting in the midst of Iowa, surrounded by God and His infinite wisdom and His flies.
All right, they're telling us that we have to go, so I think we have time for one more question. Yeah, you had your hand shot up over there.
Sorry, just a quick one, if you don't mind. Jack, why did you finally, after 3 times, why did you finally decide to leave news? And Ben, how do you feel on just as much your big life today?
Why do
you finally decide to leave the news? And then he asked me a question. I'm not gonna ask you that one.
All right. I left news. Well, I did. Everything requires an explanation. Bill Paley sold sold CBS. You don't know who Bill Paley is, but he owned it lock, stock, and barrel, and he sold it to a speculator who was the guy that crushed CBS News and ultimately turned it into a tits and ass organization. Years and years ago, and I can't begin to tell you how many years ago it was, I used to like it.
Did I mention that this is the last question?
But the key to it is that effectively, I just came to the point of where I wasn't speaking to anyone, nobody was hearing me, the old people, the Eric Severods, the Walter, to some degree Cronkite, to a great degree Ed Murrow, my hero. Nobody was listening. Nobody was hearing them. And they were the heart and soul of journalism in this country, and nobody gave a damn. It was mind-boggling to me. So I said, okay, to hell with it, I'm out of it. And I went on to do a multitude of other things. And there's the answer to the best of my ability.
All right. And to answer your question about how I feel tonight, I am completely blown away. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here. And my mom is in the audience. My best friend Baron, my girlfriend Louisa, Joel Heller, producer on the movie, without whom this movie would not exist. And finally, this man who came from the top of the mountain as an 80-year-old man who does not travel to be here tonight, who apparently can start dating.
I gotta lay one thing on you here. This is the future for film, not movies. Film. This is where you find something really important, and that's this kid right here.